like, you wrote this in my success card and I want to really go to this high school. Maybe you can tell us which high school ulikuwa umeitwa na ni gani unaambiwa uende.
Those are good names. I'm sure if people hear them right now, they'll be like, those are good places. Yeah. So that time I had been called to Loreto High School Limuru, which was at that time national school. A national school. During our time, there were only 17. I can clearly remember the numbers. There were only 17 national schools. So indeed, to be called to a national school was a pride.
A big deal.
It was a big deal. And the school that my dad wanted me to go to was Lugulu Girls.
That's also a nice school.
Yeah, I know now it's a national school. That time it was a provincial school. Yeah, it was a good school. The performance-wise was very good. My sister, other sister was actually there, so it was not like a problem from that bit. And my other sister had also been called there. Yeah, just that I was like, no, I've been called to a national school. Yeah, but somehow though God worked in all that because of the performance at that time. There were a lot of like sponsorships. Like that time, there were Nakumat, the former Nakumat. Yeah, had something for like the top achievers. Yeah, we were called. We were given lots of shopping, lots and lots of shopping from them. Then I was in Mumias. So that time, Mumias Sugar Company also had a package for those who had passed. Yeah, so actually they paid off like 15,000 every year of my four years. So you can imagine. So that had been catered for in terms of the school fees. Then also at that time, because of the just being a good news that performed well in the province. And at that time we had our local MP was from our village. So she was very happy, and it was a lady. She was very happy about my performance also. She came in and chipped in my school fee and my transportation to school, the first day of school that time. Yeah, so a lot of things really worked together for good. His main reason was because of the fee burden, but I think God really came through in that to lessen. So on my side, the burden was really lessened a whole lot, afterwards. Yeah.
This is where you like, see God.
Yeah, God came through.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe to ask, at that time when you were confronting is a strong word, standing up to your father.
Yeah.
Were you born again? Like, did you know God will come through at this point? Or when did you get to know God as your personal savior? No, let me not say just know God.
Yeah. That's a good question. Because maybe what I didn't really say was that I actually grew up in a Christian family. So right from the time I knew anything, really our home was, I would say, a Christian home. I mean, we would go to church, we would, go to church, have devotions at times, not consistently, but at times, especially with my mom, because we stayed now a lot, as you said, apart from the time when we were in Kakamega, where we stayed with my dad, but for a whole chunk of my childhood, we also were with my mom, who liked to organize. At least we had evening devotions. Yeah, so, and will give us opportunity. Actually, that time, because we were only 3, she'll actually organize in such a way that every night there's someone who actually speaks. So she actually taught us right from when we were still younger. Maybe when I was now that 7, 8, 9, like today's your day. So yeah, you just take the Bible, open, read first a verse, and then explain. That's it. That's all. Yeah, and we'll have that. So I grew up in a Christian family. I would say, both being born again, my rough memories, I'm not those people who can say, I remember my day, this day, maybe because I was crying and no.
The Lord came.
Okay. But what I put in my memory is that maybe somewhere around class 5, 6 is the time I gave my life to Christ. Maybe one of those, like a crusade or something, and said, when they're saying, repeat this. And that's what I said. And more because my mom had told us that, at a certain age, when you get maybe to around 12 years, you have to make the decision on your own. Yeah, that now from there henceforth, she does not carry the burden for you. You have to choose whether you want to be born again or not. And so on that day, I don't remember the day well. I don't remember the details, honestly. I hope God knows that my name is. The times I actually wonder, like, what if I think I'm born again and I'm not? Okay. But yes, that time I said, yes, I want to follow Christ. Yeah. So when we were having, back to your question, At that time, yes, I was born again. At that time, did I know that God will come through? Maybe I'd not really had those, I would say, faith in that sense. But it was just more from a point of as a child to a father, like, it's okay, like, no, if I deserve this, so let's not shortchange this story. Then now from there, that's when now all these things came up. Because I remember the conversations came quite early. Then, after that, you receive this, phone call that Nakumat has called, you need to go to Nairobi, there's something, and we were given loads of things. There were lots of companies which had sponsored that event. And were giving a lot of things. So that was like one. So when I was going, my shopping was, I can't even tell. It was out of, like really, it looked like I came from a very posh family when I was joining. But in reality, I know if it was just to be done in a normal way, it would have been very scanty. But my box was full of so many things, variety and things, and so much to go with. And then now this other money also appear from Ms Sugar. They say, come collect your check. We go collect our check of money. Then kidogo, just a few days to joining school. They're like, hi, the member of parliament is actually here. Can see you, and you go, and that time we were just being given money. We even went up to Parliament Building, Nairobi. We had a press conference. It was a big thing. And then the next day, it was actually during the time there was the matatu strike. There was one time when there was a big matatu strike in 2004. That's the time we were supposed to be joining school, and that's when the member of parliament said, you know what, I will actually take you to school. And we went in, like a nice posh car. You're arriving in like a statement, and yet really, it's nothing to do about how your family is. So I wouldn't say anything about my faith at that time. I just think but it built my faith now. From that point to know that if God could do this for someone like me, I knew where I came from. I knew what we had to struggle through our primary, even the time when we're doing when putting our hopes and dreams up, but God came through. So I was strengthened from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think your whole story is a big challenge, because I'm trying to imagine what was I doing in class 5. And I think you were a very mature kid at that point, especially now that you are the firstborn on this other side. And it really helped you also even stand up to your dad, and it all builds up to now where you are. Because I'm trying to imagine at that point, okay, from where I come from, kids are told, you can't really understand the Bible, but your mom was intentionally saying, explain the Bible, the verse you're saying, which was very nice. Maybe you can tell us now about your high school life. You came in a posh car. I imagine what walikuwa like, check it out. But it might have been a shock to the other students, but you knew where God amekutoa na penye maybe anakupeleka. Maybe ulikuwa unashikanisha the dots. You can tell us more about your high school life now in Limuru.
It was nice anyway. You know what you said now, contrary to what you think, like at that time, now again, let me go back. At that time, being in a national school, interestingly, like a big percentage actually of the students were students who are from well-off families, really well-off. That's the first time I actually encountered, I would say, wealth, people who are wealthy. I had not, maybe you had heard, but all through my schooling, I had never really interacted. And now here in high school, I really encountered people who are, who came from very good families, very well off. But anyway, I mean, when you're in class, uniform and all that, we are all the same, we're equal, go through the same problems. I mean, you're teenagers and growing. But one thing I would say for me that I started off was, for me, it was God. So my faith. I remember in our school, it was a Catholic school, but used to have this provision of after preps, 5 minutes we will have class prayers. So someone goes in front and shares, and then you pray. And who is me? Who's Janet? I mean, these are things we are used to. I mean, we have been at home sharing the word of God is not for us. It's like the normal thing, not like So I used to go. I remember like right from the first days, I would go stand up and share the word. I shared my story like this about how God had come through for me. Look that. Shared my testimony very boldly, and we'll speak to people about that. We'll pray. And also, when it comes to classwork, I used to perform like really well. And I remember one of the subjects, mathematics, right from the start. I remember the first cut we did in Form 1, they actually gave us the KCPE, something like that, repeat. And I remember just wondering, seriously?
Actually shine.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But I remember like I really used to perform, especially in mathematics. For me, it was almost like, those people, it's 1 hour 45, me in 30 minutes, I'm done. I'm done. I have done first round, second round, third round, I've confirmed. I'm almost sure this is
It's
it.
okay.
Anyway, but yeah, that's how it was, like Form 1 starting off, yeah. Got friends from there. One friend I know, we look at it, Sheila, we started being friends right from Form 1. I think she liked my story from there and, had conversations and many things, and from there became friends. And many others. So got friendships, continued being very vocal about my faith. I was the guys, from home, we used to listen to Rose Muhando. I will go to school and I will tell them about the songs. So I saw recently, this is on another note, I think it was that week when you were coming to preach.
Okay.
I think Nathan was the one coming to preach, and then you're the one who was leading, and then you were singing the Yesu Nakupenda song.
Yes.
And when you sang that, it took me, by the way, for me, it took me like many years back, because we were in high school 204 to 207. It took me that time because I introduced people to that song, and we used to do it as a class presentation. Dune actually became famous because of that. So in high school, actually, people remember me for being Rose Muhando, because we used to sing those songs, Yesu Nakupenda, and many others of that first album.
Yeah.
We used to sing that during the masses, because it was a Catholic school, you had a mass, so class will prepare, and then you had to have a presentation. That's what we used to present. And because of that song, it also enabled me to get so many into, like the time when I wanted to be a captain. Okay, for us, it used to be open. You go campaign. Because of that, you'll go to classes and people will be like, yeah, you, Janet, you're the one who sings Rose Muhando. And they voted for me. The time I also wanted to join Rangers Club. And also, you go because of that. It's almost like the things that favor you. Like, yeah, we know you. You're the one who normally leads that song. Yeah. So, yeah, come join us, those things. Because generally, I had grown up, it was just a fairly normal, but there was nothing I would say that is spectacular about me, like from either looks or presentation or something like that. But just because of my faith, of course, pair with time, performance and all that, be able to open doors for me in places. And that's how it was up to the time we actually finished. So I would say that's how we went. High school, I was more of the person who likes reading. I said as a morning person, so I used to like morning preps. I would wake up earlier. Yes, Limuru. But
The cold.
Yeah, the cold. But I discovered that when you just wake up and you go shower, immediately you don't feel the cold. If you get outside the dorm, you'll feel the cold, and then you'll not want to shower. So I discovered that quite early, and for me it helped. So I used to go very early, study. I used to perform, I think, fairly well. I did well. I don't think my KCSE performance was what I had really anticipated. I was not like a star or something, but I still performed right. I did well, even up to the end. Yeah, so I say my faith, that continued from Form 1 until Form 4, rooted in CU, continued in that, was actually in praise and worship. That is a shocker to many people. I was actually chosen to be in praise and worship. I was there actually in praise and worship. At some point, actually, I think I was a praise and worship leader in the CU, interestingly. Yeah, but those are the things I remember. I once went for a drama, I was in a drama festival, but French. Because I had also taken French as a subject. Yeah, so, but we went for a French drama. That's the only time I would say. And we went out for
This.
the extracurricular. The other things would be mostly class defined. Maybe like the science congress, partly, not fully. I had not really proceeded sana. Or mathematics, maybe those contests, kidogo, not much. Yeah, those are what I would remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there like a subject you really performed well in, or you'll consider it's your favorite in high school? Well, at times you may say it's your favorite because of a certain teacher, so maybe you can also...
yeah, mathematics, as I said, it was. I always wondered, not in a bad way, I always used to wonder, why are people busy complaining about math? And for me, it was always like, even when the teachers were being changed, like someone would say, hey, now this teacher, we don't get any, we completely don't get. But me, it would just be like, as long as I've gotten the first 2 minutes, they've introduced a new concept, I've had the first 2 minutes or 3, that's it. I have gotten it. So mathematics was my favorite. It was my favorite. And it was just I think it was just those things that I used to walk through. No struggle at all, however difficult it will be. I think for me it always felt like, okay, let's try. Doesn't mean that I always used to get hundreds, but I just used to love it a lot and a lot. Yeah. So that was my favorite subject. We used to have, I think towards the end, we'll even have organized some, extra sessions with my classmates so as to teach them, like, yeah, this is the concept, this is what. And for me, it was a good thing. I think it's one thing I remember writing down in my journal when I was in Form 4, when I did the Purpose-Driven Life. I read that book in Form 4. And I think one of the things I was trying to ask, like, what are these things that make you, feel good? Not feel good, but things that you feel impactful. And I wrote down, like, whenever I helped someone solve a problem, for me, that was it. Yeah, that was a big deal. So every time I would sit down, someone would say, I've not understood this topic. I said, okay, let's come. Let's prepare this time, sit down with you, we teach you through it, we do it until someone says, now I have understood. I think you have done well. You've even done better than the teacher. I'm like, okay. So I felt like that was a strong point for me in mathematics. Of course, I struggled with language, English, a bit. Struggled in the sense of not really performed, but basically that was just it. Yeah, mathematics.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Earlier you said most of the friends you made that have stuck to even this point are those you made in high school. I've heard you mention Sheila. I'm not sure if it's Sheila and Jiwa, the one.
Yes.
Yes. That's very nice. So maybe we can start with that in the next session, as you're telling us about your friends in high school.
Sure.